After a week of racing on the road course at Watkins Glen, the Area Truck Series heads to the Midwest and Brooklyn, Michigan into Michigan International Speedway for round 5 of the 2023 Area Truck Series season. Welcome back. Welcome to round number 5. I'm Kyle Hyatt, joined by Connor Horn. Connor, tonight we go racing on a 2-mile track. This place is bad fast in a truck, and I think about this track and this truck combination from all the way back when I used to race dirt to Daytona on the PS2. One of my favorite combinations, and we get to go trucking tonight.
Yeah, especially in a truck, it's one of the more fun combinations. It's exceptionally fast and a lot of handleability. You're going to be a lot of tight-knit racing tonight, and you're going to be able to use 2 or 3 lanes tonight as well. We're going to see a lot of nonstop action at all 90 laps tonight.
90-lap race, that might sound kind of long for a 2-mile racetrack, but it goes by pretty quick, especially when you're under green for a lot of it, like we were last night in the Cup race. Brooklyn, Michigan population, 1,200, more than that here at the Speedway today. Track built back in 1968. It's been home to some crazy finishes over the years, both in NASCAR and the IRL. Track length, 2 miles, 4 corners. Fairly similar in construction, but very different to drive. And of course, the racing career of Chip Ganassi ended here after an accident at Michigan in 1984. We'll head down to the racetrack, but not after we have a look at the season standings coming into the night. James Scioli leads over Tom Bourne in the number 16 truck, but Travis Beckner, Senesac, and Garrett Grant, 3, 4, 5, Connor.
And Beckner's had good runs all season long, but he's probably got the most momentum coming into tonight after his Cup win last night, second career Cup win, and that is first since the Era 500, which is hard to think about, but he's got the momentum tonight, and he's one to watch tonight. A number of drivers in the top 10 in points that are looking to have a strong run. Weishart 7th, Garrett Grant 5th is great, and a Sogak, the Daytona winner, slipped back to 8th, but still looking good. How about Edward Shearer Jr., quietly in the top 10 so far?
Yeah, Fazekas Motorsports and DWR having a pretty good fight there inside the top 10. A couple more DWR cars. Brad Slaughter Jr. down in 15th place. Carter Coop working over 20th place right now. Look down the rest of the order. Fastest in practice, though, is a driver for Miller Racing. 28th in the standings with only 70 points. That's Philip York in the number 97 as practice is underway and almost concluded here from Michigan International Speedway. And there's a look at that fastest driver here in practice. Not sure this matters a whole lot. Not sure qualifying matters all that much. We saw it not really hinder Jake Nichols last night in the Cup Series race. Only took him a little bit of time to get to the front and compete really at the front of the race for almost the entire race.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit, I would say, harder, maybe a little harder to gain track position tonight, but you're still going to be pretty packed up. Not going to be similar to the Cup race, not going to be too similar to the Cup race, but you're still going to see very close racing, and you're going to have to probably fight a little bit harder to get a pass on the top than we saw last night. Top lane was the place to be, a short run and long run. Tonight, it's going to be a little more tough to get to someone's right rear, and you might have to try your hardest to make that bottom line work.
Mason Kane running second right now in the number 31, Justin Michael, Blaine Harrison, Travis Beckner, the winner in last night's Cup race. He only led 9 laps. That was a pretty drama-filled race, Connor. There was a lot of frustration after that race, a lot of pushing and shoving, and drivers driving really hard at the beginning of a run and getting involved in something like that towards the end. How much of that, if any, will carry over to tonight, and how much of that will be new frustrations before we go short track racing next week?
I don't know how much of the frustration will carry over. A lot of it was just caused by how hectic the racing in the next-gen car can be at big tracks like this. So I don't think guys who were in the race last night, like Beckner, Scioli, I don't think it will be the same level of intensity that it was, but you are still going to probably see a lot of daring moves, daring blocks, a lot of tight action that could lead to contact. It could get a bit hectic, and we could see frustration boil over again. I don't think it's going to be anything related to what we saw last night. There was a lot of it last night, even from my end.
This racetrack is really fast, and you hear it on the onboard with Alan Elwood, not really lifting at all. Later in the run and you're in traffic, you might be fighting some aero push, you might have to lift, but on fresh tires, Connor, this is basically flat out. If you arc the corner just right, you have to carry speed here. If you back out of the throttle in a pack of cars, you mentioned how challenging it's going to be to make up ground, but it is going to be very easy to lose it.
Oh yeah, this is one of those tracks sort of like Auto Club, same length, but also has the same characteristic. It's almost like a momentum-based racetrack. You really need to keep your momentum at all points. You have to be absolutely perfect, whether you're in cleaner or dirtier, whether you're 20th or 2nd, you have to be on the gas at the right time. If you have to lift out of a corner more than you usually need to, you're going to go backwards 2-3 positions before you even get to the start-finish line, let alone what you might lose when you get down into turn number 1. So it's something you have to pay attention to. You got to race the track before you race other drivers.
Yeah, I wonder how hot this track is going to stay and how much we'll see tire fall off. We saw a fairly significant tire fall off the other night. I'd expect to see Something similar tonight, especially because you're leaning so much on those right front tires to carry speed around this racetrack throughout a run. We also saw a lot better fuel mileage than I was expecting last night as well, so we'll keep an eye on the pit strategy. Last night, drivers were able to, stop it, and I think the goal is for drivers to try to do the same tonight.
We'll have to wait and see. Once again, the next-gen car is a bigger tank. It was mileage I was going to be getting is about 52, 53 laps. That's going to be a little bit tougher to do with about a few gallons less, and I think we're going to see a lot more on-throttle time tonight as well. But that being said, it's 90 laps, not 100 laps, so you only have to make it to 45. If you can make that number, you're going to be in for probably a good finish, but I think getting the 45 is going to be a lot harder tonight than it was getting to 50 last night. Yeah,
and the fuel window is listed as 40 to 45 laps, but 45, that's in the draft, that's saving fuel. That's going to be probably a bit of a tall task. I'm certain we'll see drivers try it, especially those that are not out there leading the pack. Next week we go racing at North Wilkesboro. That's going to be a lot of fun. Darlington following that, then Martinsville, Atlanta, CTMP, IRP, Talladega, and that's when the playoffs will begin at Chicagoland, Phoenix, Vegas, Gateway, and Homestead, Miami. But really looking forward to North Wilkesboro next week. That should be a lot of fun as we get set for qualifying here tonight. Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel for only $5 a month. You can watch all area broadcasts commercial free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat and earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise at twitch.tv/Area iRacing. Qualifying underway. And again, I mentioned I don't think this is the most critical qualifying session on the season, Connor, but it will save you some effort if you start up front and can stay up front. But you only get one lap to do it right.
Yeah, you only get one lap. I think a lot of drivers, once again, forgot that. It's hard to get that, hard to remember that because we've been switching back and forth the last few weeks, but yes, got to do your one and only lap. You got to be ready to probably run the top end 3 and 4 coming to your hot lap as Bradslaw Jr. is going to park it, didn't like his exit. Your pit exit is going to be pretty important, too, to get as much speed into 3 as possible. And like you're saying, qualifying probably won't be too important tonight. 3 races here in the Truck Series at Michigan, and all the winners have started 11th or worse. No front runners have won. Last year, it was Cody Cotrayer. He only led 4 laps. Scioli led 69 laps, but finished 21st. Very odd race last year, but looking probably for more of the same this year as Jacob Bell is going to take the green flag.
Yeah, and that was a pretty wild race, if I recall, last season. Cody Cartwright getting the job done there in that one. It was physical. I think we'll expect some of that tonight, as we saw last night. A little bit of drivers leaning on each other, especially at the front. We saw lots of 3 and 4 wide. I think drivers are looking for things to get spread out just a little bit more tonight, Connor, and that will let them breathe for a minute. It was so tight quarters last night that I think there was some claustrophobia playing into the frustrations. But here comes Jacob Bell out of turn 4, and you'll start to see times trip up on the timing and scoring here as we complete laps.
Hearn's about to complete his lap in front of Bell, but we'll see where the 77 goes. 40.061 puts him second, about 200 behind Cameron Hearn, who ran a 40.033. You should see a few times trickle over the screen after this. Garrett Grant a little bit off. Tom Bourne, a 39.99. I think the only time, one of 3 times in the 39-second bracket. Michael Curran took pole by a ways with a 39.916 as Elwood crosses the line.
Yeah, by 74 thousandths of a second, but when you compare that to the 8 thousandths that Bourne has over Munsell for third, that's very, very close. Here's Carter Hayden in the 99. Rolling through turns 3 and 4. Nice looking livery on this 99 truck. There's also some other liveries we should take note of. How about that of Eric Wineland? He's got SimTV logos on the side of the truck. If you want to guarantee yourself airtime, there's a pretty good way to do it.
Learning from Case Licata's book.
Yes.
So, for him. He's got logos on the car, on the truck. That's more important. He's at least got logos on the truck. And he's going to put them put him up at the front for now. Puts him 5th. He was 4th, but David Weissart crosses the line to go 2nd on the board. So that'll put Wineland on the edge of the top 5.
And Scioli starting a lap here, so we'll see how he lands. Points leader. Carter Koop starts his lap. Braden Goddard starts his.
Goddard needing a little bit better luck. He's been in the mix here and there, but for the most part, he has not had great luck. 36th in the points, looking for something to go his way. That's not going to help too much as he gets really squirrely out of 2. Turn 2 is a big trouble spot here. The banking kind of juts out and it gets flat in a hurry, so you got to be ready for that.
Travis Beckner goes 7th quick. Goddard was really loose out of 2, but he kept his foot in it. You see, walking up the hill here in 3 and 4, and he's going to lose this lap if he turns it around, but either way, it's going to be a slow one for Goddard.
It was his hot lap, not anything you can do about it. Just got to go with the motions, and that'll put him at the very back, as we see more times going up quickly. No one's been able to knock off the 24 of Curhan. He had a good run last night, looking to build on that, maybe get a pole here as Mason Kane goes down into the bottom of 3 and 4. One thing I was surprised about, I usually wouldn't want to run below that seam. It's usually a rule of thumb, and I think Jake Nichols even mentioned it in his interview last night, that below that bottom seam at any part of the track, it's not really where you want to be. It's a little bit more flat. You get a little bit too loose to make that work. But saying that, Mason Kane makes it work. He does get a solid hot lap out of it. He goes 5th.
Christine Thompson up onto the back straightaway in the number 5 Thompson Pipe Group Toyota Tundra TRD, and enters turn number 3 at about 183 miles an hour, about 10 to 12 miles an hour off the pace of the Cup cars, but the draft will eliminate some of that. By the way, the 7 of Scioli went 9th quick. Wineland now down to 10th. Bronson Stafford went 3rd quick. Where does Thompson land on his first and only lap? And it will put him 40.198. That's going to put him down
28th.
Towards the bottom, P28. I think he would have liked a little better than that.
Yeah, not much speed there, but should be no go-go homers. 42 drivers set to potentially take the green flag, so just barely below the cusp of needing go-go homers. Everyone makes the race tonight as Aiden Robertson is going to come out of turn 2. Another mini slide there for him, going down the back straightaway. Not too far up the timing sheet in practice. We'll see if he can do a little bit better in Q.
Enters turn 3 right against that yellow line, right on the bottom of the road. Michael Curhan waiting to get that provisional pole, and you see him sitting there with the smile on his face. He knows it's going well for him. Only a couple competitive trucks left to go. Roberson at a 41.15, good enough for 25th. AJ Roderick, Anna Sogak, Ryan Olson are on track, but I'd say Roderick and Anna Sogak are really the last drivers I'd think would be really threatening to Curhan at this current point, but only a couple trucks left to go, and Roderick not a great lap either. That'll put him 27th.
I wonder if a cloud was on track early. It didn't really look like it, but it seems like everyone who's gone out late just does not have the same pace. Dustin Scruggs and Paul Urban are crossing the line to start their lap. Edward Shear Jr. is actually completing his lap now. Another time in the 40.1 bracket. That puts him down in 34th. Ryan Olson picks up the 14th, and Justin Anasogak coming across the line now. And it's a solid lap, but just off the pole by 4 1/1000ths of a second.
Yeah, see, Michael Curhan still clinging to provisional pole with just Irvin and Scruggs left to go. I suppose Danny Ware or Ricky Harden could go, but just keeping an eye on Curhan in the bottom right of your screen. By 0.005 of a second, he's still your pole sitter.
He's pretty confident, too. I don't blame him. That was a blazing lap he put down. Scruggs is going to cross the line, a 40.039. That's a solid lap right behind him. Is Swervin Irvin, a 40.004. That actually ties him with Eric Wineland, but I think Wineland's going to get the spot by default.
And Ricky Harden sitting on the exit of pit lane. Wonder if he is deciding to go or not. Got time to do it. See if he rolls. He'd be the last driver to go. Carter Hayden has already gone. Danny Ware would be the only other driver that has not yet put a time in, but he's not even sitting on the racetrack.
Do have 3 minutes, so you don't have to go yet. They could probably wait until 2 minutes to go, and you'll probably still be able to get a time down. But I think the track in sim time is about 1 p.m., so it's only going to get hotter at this point. You don't really want to wait, but it looks like Ricky is willing to do that.
Well, truck's in gear, and he is beginning to roll off of pit lane in the number 15. And Danny Ware is rolling in the 49. He's already on the racetrack.
He snuck onto the racetrack somehow, but a Sibrac Market truck, Silverado looking fly. We'll see what he does. I haven't really seen what people have been doing to get a run out of the corner to start their hot lap. He elects to go to the very top, maybe a half groove off, turns it down a little bit. Don't want to lift up there. If you have to lift on your out lap, you're definitely going to lose too much momentum. Probably cut it down right here.
And you mentioned rolling off a pit lane, how critical that is. Really, your qualifying starts the second you put the truck in gear.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost kind of like Daytona and Talladega, where you have to be you don't have to be perfect on your exit there, but you want to keep as much momentum possible into turn number 3 coming out of pit road just to get everything out of the truck or car possible. So very, very important, especially at a track like Michigan where that banking, there is not much of it on the apron.
20.047, roughly the halfway mark here. So looking at a roughly 40-second lap. Let's see how he does out of turn number 4. Danny Ware, the penultimate driver to go and try to set a time here for Area Truck Series Round 5 from Michigan, and it's going to be a 40.025. That should slot him in about 15th place. It's indeed.
He's a 10th off the pole, Kyle. He's 15th place.
I mean,
imagine that.
These big tracks where you're full throttle all the time, it really just comes down to lane choice and line and how much you unwind the wheel or how much wheel you put in it. Here's Ricky Harden starting his flying lap now.
He will be the last one to go here.
And just really at this point, I think so much of this is just drag. How much drag are you creating? How much friction are you putting into the steering system by adding angle? The less you turn the wheel, the less rolling resistance you're going to have. You just have to make sure that you're not understeering up into the outside wall. Harden, though, right against that bottom groove. We saw drivers running a seam higher last night. Some more horsepower to compensate, though. And Harden across the line of the 15 truck. Will Michael Curhan go to pole?
Yes, he does. 15th. Another driver slots in 15th. 40.018, and that is qualifying done.
And that will mean that Michael Curhan will sit on the pole for race number 5 of the season. And calm, cool, and collected he is. We get set to go racing here in just a couple of minutes' time. So qualifying complete here from the Michigan International Speedway. Before we get rolling here, of course, we do have our Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup to bring you here in just a moment's time. Race fans, start your engines with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems Coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try the blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code AREA iRacing for 10% off your order at checkout at roastedgems.com. Oh boy, 90 laps. It's all going to start double wide heading into turn number 1. And Connor, how much does it matter to have your teammates around you? When we compare this to a super speedway race like Daytona or Talladega, it pays to have friends. Is that the case tonight, or is it every man for himself?
I think tonight it's every man for himself with the way the trucks race. You're going to be packed up, but I don't think team games are going to be something you're going to be thinking about tonight. Definitely not on Thursday night, but we saw a lot of it last night. There was a lot of frustration that Jake Nichols, I think, had with Ricky Springer. And that was really because of how strong the draft was and how important it was to give dirty air to someone, block someone's lines, almost like 550 racing with the 2019 Cup package. But shouldn't see that tonight. I think we're going to see a lot more racing at the front instead of team games. It's going to be very, very important to get track position over other teams for sure. But I don't think you're going to see any games played.
Well, warm-up here is complete, and that means that we can go through our Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup here in just a second. As soon as cars, or I should say trucks, start to grid for our 90-lap event here from Michigan International Speedway. Again, thanks for joining us tonight here on SimTV. Live timing and scoring is available, simtvbroadcasting.com. If you'd like to go there and get live timing updates, you can go to simtvbroadcasting.com and click the hamburger icon, go to timing. You can have it all live, updated every 3 seconds. Here we go, starting lineup for tonight's event. Let's kick things off. Row number 1, it's going to be the 24 truck of Michael Curhan in the Ford F-150. Justin Anasogak starts in second in the 88 truck.
I believe he's a 20th different pole winner in truck history and area, so good for him. Justin Michael, with good qualifying run for him, starting third. 4th place, another driver who needed a good qualifying run and a good run in general, Bronson Stafford.
And row number 3, it's David Weishart in the number 29 truck. We'll have an onboard camera with him. Mason Kane starts 6th in the number 31.
Tom Borney was the points leader earlier in the season. He starts 7th, and in 8th place, another driver. A lot of good qualifying runs for some drivers who needed it tonight. That's Ted Wade.
Justin Munsell starts 9th in the number 6. James Scioli, points leader, rolls off on the outside of row 5.
A SimTV sponsored Eric Wineland finally logos on the truck. He starts 11th, and he tied on time with Paul Irvin, but Wineland gets the spot.
13th place, row 7, last night's winner of the Cup Series, Travis Beckner. He is a playoff competitor there. Alongside him, Brad Slaughter Jr. in the number 8 starts 14th.
The truck champion in 14th, and another onboard cram we'll have is with Ricky Harden in the 15 truck. Alongside him, another Simrap Market truck, that's Danny Ware.
In 17th place, it's Bryce Senesac in the familiar black and green butt kicker 09 Chevrolet. Cameron Hearn starts 18th in his Ford F-150.
Just about rounding out the top half of the field, Dustin Scruggs in the 22 is going to start right alongside this blue 75 truck of Ryan Olson.
In 21st place, it's Dylan Lee. In the number 25, Philip York, quick in practice, starts 22nd for the race.
And the next row, I believe row number 12, is Shane Thieren and Jacob Bell. Apparently Thieren is always on a controller, which me and Finian were flabbergasted by last week.
Impressive. I've done that, been there. Not on the oval side, but still an impressive drive nonetheless. Ryan Swan starts 25th in the number 1 truck. Alan Elwood in the familiar number 10 starts 26th.
Greg Mitchell had good runs on the road courses last week. We'll see if he can build on that. He starts back in 27th alongside the 54 Matco Tools truck of Bobby Tinch.
In 29th place, it's Chris Rabel in the number 33. Gary Waterworth starts 12th in the number 30. Or sorry, starts 30th in the number 12. Read that wrong.
Dyslexia hurts. It's all good. Edward Shearer Jr., he's top 10 in the points, but starts back in 31st. He also, another driver who tied on time, he tied with Blaine Harrison in 32nd.
33rd place, Aiden Roberson in the number 53. Hank Caston rolls off 34th in the number 36.
AJ Roderick in the 56. Silverado rolls off 35th. Alongside him, the 52 of Carter Coop.
And in 37th, it's Joseph R. Jones in the number 93 Ford F-150. Dean Thompson, 38th in the number 5.
Devin Schillingberg in the red number 9, starting 39th place. Alongside him was going to be the 42 Fazekas Motorsports truck of Garrett Grant.
In 41st place, it's the number 38 Silverado of Braden Goddard. Carter Hayden starts 42nd. That wraps up your field here for tonight's event. And with the way that the field is gridded, this is a very messy pace lap here, Connor. And we're getting started in a quarter of a lap, and the field is definitely not caught up. I wonder if they're going to add a lap here to get the field caught up.
This happens all the time when you have like side-by-side on pit road instead of just being gridded up normally. This happens all the time, especially at like Pocono in Michigan. But I don't think we're going to get a cancellation. We're going green here, and I don't know if you're going to ask me, but I'm going to pick my winner right now.
Yeah, go for it.
Munsell.
All right.
Justin Munsel's my pick.
It's a good pick. I'm going to roll with Tom Bourne of the 16. I think he gets it done. We're going racing from Michigan. The field's caught up, and we're going green. Whoa, spinner, turn 3. Bronson Stafford,
no.
That's going to be a mess out of turn number 4. And a huge pile up in the back of the field.
Oh my goodness. Stafford's destroyed. Jacob Bell, Carter Coop, I think Scioli had damage. Oh my goodness. That was, it almost looked like there was fluid on the track. Everyone got so loose. I thought it was Justin Michael, and then Stafford broke sideways. That was wild.
Well, not a good start to the night. Certainly is. Trucks go spinning on lap number 1. Here is a look at how it started. Watch the 61. He's the first one I saw sideways here, Connor, so let's see if there was more to it.
See the 87 sideways up ahead. Oh, there was contact.
And the 16 of Tom Bourne, and then...
Oh, there goes my pick.
Yeah.
Munster spun.
Oh, man.
Philip York, Elwood, Mitchell, Roberson, Waterworth. Lap 1, it's easier to tell who wasn't in this.
Yeah.
Who was that? Could not tell what truck that was who got into him.
That was the 16 of Bourne. The FRN truck here on the inside the Tundra, and right here the 61 has kind of slows up a little bit. The 16 drifts right there, tags him in the left rear quarter panel, and then he goes around, and then the 7 of Scioli gets into Munsell, and he goes right across the nose of the 21 of Eric Wineland. That was an incredible drive there, and then the 10 of Elwood's in it, and then everyone on back just piled in there with not much to see.
Yeah.
I think the 12 is probably going to have the best look at this. That was Gary Waterworth. And not much that drivers could do at this point. You're packed in, you don't have any visibility, you just see this.
Yeah, there was a lot of crashing at the back in regards, just trying to check up. You see smoke, you try to check up, some drivers won't see it. We'll see what happened here. He's trying to check up here, he gets slowed down, and then he just gets piled into by, I believe, I couldn't see that, is 33. That's Chris Rabel who might have hit him, but there was Greg Mitchell's flying in there too.
Yep.
It looked like Roberson got on the back of Rabel, and that's what threw 3 or 4 trucks into the main pileup.
AJ Roderick back there. You see Garrett Grant just come to a stop. Didn't want any part of that as the field sorted themselves out. Big pileup there, and the 21 of Eric Wineland did a great job missing that. And I think we should take a moment. We've got to stop.
He missed it.
Did he get damage in that? I thought he missed it.
He's going to be able to continue, but he's definitely got some damage there.
I wonder if he got some more after, because I thought he missed that initial contact, but maybe he did get caught up in it. Oh, he did hit pit lane, didn't he?
I believe he
The rear
hit
of that
Stafford.
truck.
I believe he hit Stafford and not spray ball, but
Yeah, you can see the damage on the right front. You mentioned that where that arrow catches on that right front, the hood.
that's gonna hurt at a track like this. You can get away with it where we were probably a little bit at Watkins Glen even, but that's not going to be good for performance here.
Nope. So big incident. Lap 1 for the area truck series here from Michigan Speedway, and car-to-car contact, and leading to a big crash. There are, well, P25 down to P42 hit pit lane, and there are 6 trucks that have spent more than a minute, 5 trucks that spent more than 30 seconds on top of that, and really only 3 that pit for just a minor moment. So.
And Carter Hayden's already out of the race in the 99. He started last. He was not able to avoid. Jacob Bell's out of his truck. Bronson Stafford, the main part of that, pretty destroyed. Greg Mitchell out of a truck. Roderick as well. Very early to take a lot of trucks out, but most of the front runners did a really good job getting around that. Like, trying to see, for example, I think Mason Kane, Ted Wade went way high to avoid it. They did a great job. They lived to see another lap.
David Weishart up to second place on an opening lap, from 5th up to 2nd. The rest of the field gets bunched up to go racing once more. I should also note Dean Thompson, who I think managed to avoid most of the calamity, went from 38th to 28th without really doing much. So I'll take that.
Oh, I'll take that all day. Is you keep a clean truck after something like that, you deserve to get some spots out of it. They actually did get into Carter Coop a little bit, but the truck has survived.
And other drivers that hit pit lane. Where's Travis Beckner at? I didn't get it. Oh, he's up in 11th, so he is all good. Winner from last night in the Cup Series race. As we come back to the green flag, lap number 5. Quick yellows here. That's the one benefit of this racetrack, relatively new. Green flag back in the air once more, and a good launch by the 24 Curhan. He's off and away.
Already seeing some. Oh, I thought it was going to be 3 wide under the 31 of Mason Kane, but Slaughter had the lane to get down there. As this is going to be, I think that was a little bit of a wake-up call. Knowing on cold tires, you're going to be pretty squirrely in 3 and 4 especially, so I think drivers are going to be looking out for that this time.
Whoa, a little bit of weaving and wobbling on the back straightaway. Just like Daytona and Talladega, a lot of the crashes we've seen here at Michigan, whether it's open wheel or in stock cars, happen on the straightaways as everyone's trying to reposition themselves. Justin Michael on the outside, or on the inside rather, he wanted a piece of Michael Curran, and I think he's going to get the lead away.
He's going to maybe be clear. He's definitely going to lead the lap. I don't think he's going to get clear. A little bit of push from David Weishart. It's going to come on the top lane. Hard to clear someone when they got the pusher like that, but Michael, he can keep his foot in it. He has a chance, but the outside's just a little bit stronger in 1 and 2.
Brad Slaughter Jr., 14th, now up into 4th in about a lap and a half worth of actual racing. That's a really impressive climb. Side by side for the lead still as they enter turn 3. 87 on the bottom, 29 and 24 on the top side. Fazekas and DWR.
Is where you got to be a little bit careful on new tires. Everyone's going to be trying to pack race a little bit, be side by side. It's very easy once you're side by side into a corner to get sideways and wash up into a driver in front of you or on your outside, so you got to be aware of that.
Just getting into the rhythm. That was key last night. We didn't have our first yellow until I think it was, 29 or 39 laps in. Long green flag run. And still door-to-door for the top spot, and Weishart's kind of packed in on the high side. No, not really anywhere for him to go.
He's going to gladly push a 24 by Curhan back to the lead, all clear, as the 87 just does not have anything down there. Now jumping to the inside, Brad Slaughter Jr. up to 4th, but not much of a push coming, just trying to, I think, clear the 2x2 madness behind him.
And Ricky Harden from 15th up to 5th. And Sogak's in that upper groove. Mason Kane, Bryce Senesac, Cameron Hearn, all in this grouping.
And I think once we get to about 10 to 20, maybe even 30 laps to go, you'll see drivers try to duck to the bottom to go 3 wide. But I think a lot of drivers right now being very cautious, especially after the big one, just trying to stay in line and work together a little bit. And just, I think they know there's a long way to go. No reason to be trying that stuff right now.
I really enjoy watching drivers in VR or on triple screens looking left and looking right, completely immersed in the sim racing world and battling for position here. In the virtual iRacing platform, it is a blast to watch. Curhan clears the front 2, but just for a moment, Michael swings back to the inside and took a swipe at him there, maybe trying to get a side draft off the quarter panel.
It almost looked like Curhan took a swipe at him a little bit, trying to block the bottom, but wasn't clear, so he'll just stick to the top line. Once again, that's going to be hard for that 87 to do much of anything without a push down the straightaways. He can maintain, but he's not going to do anything more than get side by side with the 24, and he might even have to give up this spot the YSR complete.
With a side by side and jostling in the background. 54 of Bobby Tinch is slipping in there. Look at the Mason Kane truck way up the hill in turn 3. He's trying to find his own zip code to race in. Nobody home here. That was a big move.
Yeah, I think Senasak and Lana Sogak came together, and he just had to take some evasive action. He's not trying to run up there, but he has been up there a lot. Here comes Ted Wade 3 wide. This is the first big move that we've really seen, and he's not going to do much. Doesn't have much momentum down there because of how flat that bottom is under the seam, and just going to lose positions rather than gain any by doing that.
Oh, trucks in the wall in the backstretch. Oh no, they're still bouncing off each other. So the 9 is Schillingberg, and he's around.
Jones.
Oh, the 42. Garrett Grant is in it as well, and are they still crashing into turn 3?
He's trying to go through the grass, Grant is, but I don't think anyone else was involved in that, but that was weird. Down the back straightaway, I think cars bounced off the wall, and Devin Schillenberg and Garrett Grant have gotten the worst of that.
Yeah, I think it started with the 9, I thought, right there. Yep, gets in the wall here, and then just gets kind of run into from the 36 of Caston.
Wow, yeah. I need to see another angle of that, but it definitely looked like Hank Caston just kind of barreled in there, for lack of a better term. We'll see off of turn 2. Right behind Bobby Tinch.
On board now at 36. He did lift, it just wasn't really enough.
And yes, definitely wasn't enough. Garrett Grant, that's the hit that blew the engine in the 42.
Oh, did it really?
Yes,
oh, man, he did a great job saving it, too. That's a total shame. On board with the 42.
Joseph Jones did a great job too, but we'll see what Garrett Grant sees. He sees some smoke there, but knows everything's good here. But he still doesn't see what's happening until here, and he tries to go low, and there's just nowhere to go.
Man. Oh, right. I wonder if it was that transition back to the grass. I didn't hear it pop on the initial contact, but that is a shame. And then you mentioned the 93, I think.
A little piece of it. I have some takers on pit road. Cameron Hearn in 9th pits and brings a lot, so have to look at that. A lot of drivers going to come down. A lot of them already having damage, but some trying some strategy here to maybe potentially make it a 1-stop instead of 2. But with these yellows, I think front runners might be in a good spot to do that anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. At a yellow, I think you're in pretty good shape regardless. So I don't know. Maybe they think tires will be worth something, maybe? We haven't really done that much green flag racing, Connor. I'm not sure that I would give up my track position for that.
Especially after the incidents we've had. Curhan's tire, he was still within 2/10 of his first lap time. And with the draft, it's not going to make that much of a difference. So, yeah, I would think it would only be a fuel play for the guys pitting right now. But there's no reason not to take that set of tires at this point. If you're going to take fuel to try to make it on one less stop, you might as well take tires to have a little bit of a grip advantage. Hearn leads them all off of pit road. Majority, well, I'd say it was a little bit of half and half on pitters and non-pitters.
Watching the Area Truck Series from Michigan, round 5 of 17. Seen a couple replays tonight. Sponsored by SimWrap Market. Race fans, be sure to visit simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and help you stay more focused on the racetrack. simwrapmarket.com. Well, 12 laps into a 90-lap event, and they're ticking away regardless of being a little slow right now, but I have a feeling we're going to get a long green flag run in here. It's just a matter of time. The field was beginning to spread out just a little bit, Connor, and when they spread out, that gives you plenty of room. It's not like you're going to get caught in a tight scenario here if you're by yourself. This racetrack's very wide and very fast. The challenge is on these starts and restarts.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be about sorting yourselves out on the starts and restarts. It looks like we're getting sorted out. We're 2x2, but that was pretty calm for Michigan standards. But I think we had some stack-ups happening. Obviously, had drivers getting on the wall, and those are just kind of racing deals that happen from time to time. So we'll see if they can get sorted out again. But yeah, it's almost looking like this could play into a lot what we saw in a few of the early races in Season 3, where we'd see early yellows, a middle run that went long, and sometimes it would go long to the end, and sometimes we'd have yellows at the end. But it's looking like a potential race like that. It's been the opposite for most of the races this season, but could see a different story this week.
Well, while we finish pacing, I have some personal news. Connor, you know about this already, but announced today that I will be announcing the Toyota GR Cup for 4 rounds in 2023, starting next weekend at Circuit of the Americas, then following up at Virginia International Raceway, Sebring International Raceway, and Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The races on Sunday for those events will be live broadcast on CBS Sports. Really excited to be a part of that. Being part of the SRO Motorsports group for a couple of years, and they tapped me in for a couple rounds for the TV side of things for a series that uses a chassis that I am well subscribed to, Connor, that GR86, GT86 platform. I'm in, and now I guess I actually am in.
Literally, yeah. That's awesome stuff. Can't wait to watch and can't wait to hear that voice. And I think if you want to get prepared, you need to announce some iRacing GR86 Cups.
Yeah.
There's an official series.
Yeah,
Gotta practice.
We've done some GR86 racing in the WDCR SCCA region, but here tonight, the Area Truck Series back underway from Michigan. Travis Beckner on the outside. There he's got Mason Kane in the mix. They're 3 wide behind them. That's the 54 a Tinch. Right in the middle of the 75, and some slipping and sliding down to turn 2.
And battle for the lead. Weishart dove to the bottom. I think there's more drivers bouncing off the wall back there, but they keep it straight for now. Weishart dove to the bottom. Curhan wanted to wash up to the top, and Weishart's going to take advantage and get the lead away. He took advantage of not as so great of a restart from Justin Michael, and Curhan definitely picked the wrong lane out of 2. He might lose second.
Curhan in the 24. 1 pole by 5 thousandths of a second. I'm sure he'd like to get back up front, but nowhere to go. He's boxed in right now as they enter turn 1, door to door to door. Some 3 wide behind them. The Mason Kane truck working over Bryce Senesac for 7th.
It's one of the most annoying things about Michigan in any car or truck. When you're boxed in on the top, you're helpless. You can't do anything but just stay as close to the outside wall as possible. You can't go low because you'll get freight train. You can't go, oh wow, car in the wall, truck in the wall. Who was that?
Ryan Olson in the 75.
Doesn't look like he got too much damage. I think he just missed the corner, but he should be all good to continue just out of a pack. And draft is still pretty important in a truck here, but you can still catch up without it.
Edward Sherrod Jr., the number 51. Try to jump on board with him. That internet not working out very well for him. And Justin Michael to the lead, but just over Weishart. And it's Curhan, Slaughter, Ricky Harden. A lot of blinking going on there mid-pack, Connor, and that always makes you nervous when you're this close together.
It's probably one of the worst tracks like Daytona and Talladega for someone to be blinking this badly. That's Edward Sherrod Jr. He's been doing it very badly. And it's got to be that's so distracting when there's someone right in front of you doing that. It's also distracting if they're in your mirror because they're just taking up space, blinking back and forth. You don't know if they're going to dive under you or to your outside. Justin Michael almost got spun from the lead, insanely close to a big wreck, and they're crashing. Beckner's around, and this is going to take out a number more drivers. Senesac, that 66.
Oh, wow.
The 66 goes flying. Oh, and they're still wrecking on the bottom. Wow, wow, wow.
Another big one tonight. And I was trying to get the trucks that were turned around, but they just dropped down the order so fast in the packs, it gets hard to follow them down. And this started an interesting way. Let's go back a little further. And you mentioned the race leader here. I'm throwing a block there on the 29. Watch right on far left of your screen, right there. Then it starts to stack up. Beckner into the back of the 8, gets hit from Mason Kane, and then into the 09, and then they collectively go back up the track. And 66 is in it, the biggest.
And Sogak, Blaine Harrison, Beckner, Senesac. And then there was more stack-up crashes avoiding the wreck. I think that was Philip York. Not sure if he got help, but you see some things happen. Here's Blaine Harrison. He just goes to the top, but, you know, on the bottom, what goes down must come up before it comes up and goes down. And he just could not get through in time, and then somehow just gets flung into the air. That's probably 5 weeks in a row we've seen a truck in the air.
Yep, and there's those stack-ups. See Alan Elwood there on the bottom, and then one truck sailing through there.
Whoa.
Who was that? Was that the 36 again?
I think it was. That was Hank Caston.
Wow.
And I don't know. Now that's there. You know, you get leeway on some of those.
Yeah,
but
this is
not
bad.
one of those.
Nope.
That is unacceptable.
Hank, what are you doing, my bud?
I don't know. Philip.
Oh.
Yeah. Then look at this. I mean, out of the pack completely. And where are we going here? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but where are we going? I remember when Jennifer Jo Cobb did that to Parker Klickerman. That was near the exact same thing as we're seeing more drivers pit.
Well, he did get an EOL for that, but quite frankly, that should be a wake-up call, I think.
Yeah, that would be called a virtual area hauler, I would think.
I would think so.
We had some leaders pit that time too. Curhan pit, most notably.
Did pit, and so did Justin Michael and David Weishart. Now everyone's kind of off strategy, so it's going to get real fun to follow. But the top 6 pit on that most recent yellow. Braden Goddard stayed out. I believe he has not yet pit.
Good race off pit road. I think Michael got it, and he's probably going to use this yellow to breathe. Just go through the motions and breathe a little bit. He was almost the big one himself. That was an insanely great save off the bumper of Weishart. And that's something that's a little surprising, but I've seen it happen before. The Chuck bumpers just don't line up that well. You can lift someone's rear end up, and that's almost what happened to V87.
Yeah, pushing is hard, especially here. I think one thing that doesn't help is the camber on the straightaways. If you go to Daytona or Talladega, you can push okay, but it's because the back straightaway in particular is pretty flat. You add the camber to the mix, and then you start leaning on bumpers. What the car's going to want to do is hook left, and we saw that there with the 87. So good catch. Certainly kept it from being a crash that started at P1 versus P5, but the ensuing stack-up is what caused that collision there.
Yeah, that was a definitely could have been worse for sure. And if the leader goes around, it gets worse. And it was already big as it was, but like that could have taken out the other half of trucks that weren't in the first crash. And luckily, you're able to get away with that. One thing I want to note is how quick your luck can change. Remember James Skylerly dominant last week, won all the races. Last night he was the first caution out of the race early. Tonight he was. We got a delayed green here for I think a car stopped, so we'll go again. But Skylerly won off the race last week, and this week he has not made it even close to the end of these races without getting damaged. In fact, he didn't get 4 turns without getting damaged. So that's definitely how quickly it can switch up. Although he is second after not pitting.
Well, sometimes if you don't have any luck, I guess what's the saying about bad luck? If you didn't have bad luck, you'd have no luck at all.
None at all. Yep.
And one of those drivers earlier this year was Cameron Hearn. He just got so unlucky so many times. I think back, was it Charlotte? Just every single yellow he was in, his fault or not. And right now he leads the way.
And it's not like he doesn't have the speed. We know he has speed pretty much anywhere, whatever series, whatever track. He's there contending, and most of the time, things just don't go his way. We saw it at Charlotte twice in the Truck Series race, and in the Xfinity race, he had a winning race going and got caught up in late incidents. So something's got to change at some point. He had good runs last week at the road course, and trying to finally get it done once and for all.
Well, got another lap here under yellow. Race fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. Man, that Palm Beach Pineapple, I would not be mad if they wanted to send that my way. Do a little testing and trialing.
Right.
To make sure it's good, right?
Are you trying to get free stuff? Is this what this is?
Yeah.
All right. Well, as long as you're upfront about it, I agree. I'll take some.
I'll take some Palm Beach Pineapple hot sauce.
I'll take the South Beach Heat. It's on the trucks. It's on Skyler's truck all the time. I might as well be the first one I try.
Yeah, I'm a big sweet spicy fan. I'm not necessarily like all in on super spicy stuff in general, but give me a little bit of sweet with my spicy, and I'm all for it. Mango habanero, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, with the hot sauce, it's not all about the heat. It's got to taste good. And I'm sure for hot sauce, I haven't tried it yet, but I can only imagine it combines taste and spice, and it's probably just the right ratio. But I need to try it first. Not a Coca-Cola ad, but I do need to try it.
You can. Nice. You can send an email to simtvbroadcasting.com or at gmail.com, and I'll hit you up. All right.
I'll think about that.
Here we go. Pace car tonight. He's going to pull off, make the left-hand turn onto pit lane. And it's time to get back racing from Michigan International Speedway, round number 5 of the Area Truck Series. A handful of yellows so far. Let's get some green flag laps under our belts. Here we go.
Whoa, oh, we're already crashing.
Oh,
Braden
no.
Goddard's flying through the air. And it's another crash before turn 1.
Wow.
And Michael Curhan's damaged. He's destroyed. The 24 is totaled out of that. Oh, no.
And it seems pretty calm, all things considered, but what happened there?
24. Well, no, Goddard was the first one I saw go around and flying. But that was almost like someone had to miss a shift or there was a stack up or something. Let's see here.
Oh, it was Goddard.
Oh, missed a shift.
And then Weishart got into the back of him and tripped him up into Curhan. Sent him over the top of a couple of trucks.
It was actually a relatively small crash, just a 38-24, and Therian spun. Weishart hit him, but yeah, Weishart just couldn't get away from the bumper in time, and Curhan, literally nothing he could do.
Man, Alan Elwood had quite the show on
Ted
board
Wade,
with the
some damage.
number 10.
This will be a heck of a view.
Whoa!
Oh, he went under him, and then he had to avoid the 38. Ted Wade got some damage, but wow,
Yep.
That was wild.
Well, with another yellow immediately after the previous, we're going to step away and jump to break for a couple of minutes. We'll be right back after this. Back live from Brooklyn, Michigan in the Area Truck Series. It has been a demolition derby so far in 24 laps, about 4 yellow flags, and most recently a missed on a restart, piled up a couple of trucks, and we're down into, Connor, as you put it, double-digit off track after 42 took the green. There are a lot of trucks in pit lane with damage and less that are ready to get re-racked and restacked and go back racing.
Yeah, Michigan not usually one of those tracks that you see the attrition rate rise, but we've seen it already in the first third of this one already. Around, if not over, 10 trucks out of this race. Carter Hayden, Jacob Bell, Bronson Stafford, Greg Mitchell among those, including Michael Curhan, who led the, won the pole, led the first portion of this one. He made one pit stop at the wrong time and was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He'll probably be out of this race, which is just a complete shame. And we'll see if we can get cleaner stuff. Once again, coming to green here, we have varying strategies. Cameron Hearn stayed out on the yellow before. Justin Michael just recently pit on the other yellow, and he's one of those drivers who did avoid that last crash. So some differing tires and some different fuel strategies here.
Well, the trucks that are definitely out is grayed out on my timing screen. Carter Hayden, Jacob Bell, Greg Mitchell, AJ Roderick. And then Travis Beckner's likely done for the night. So is Blaine Harrison, Bronson Stafford, and Braden Goddard. You could add Curhan to that list. And there's a few other trucks that are probably borderline to continue, but we'll probably get back out there and try to salvage what they can. Field rolls out of turn number 4. Let's try this again, working lap number 26 of 90. As we roll back to the green flag once more, Cameron Hearn is your race leader, and it's James Scioli, the points leader. Danny Ware, Ryan Swan, Justin Munsell, the rest of your top 5 are back underway from Michigan.
They almost did it again.
Oh, they're stacking up again, as you mentioned. Mason Kane, that was a 36 at Caston, but they got away with it.
Started with Joseph Jones. I don't think he caused it, but a lot of people were trying to time that. I think Dylan Lee got in the back of him and started to stack up, but we survived this time. Ooh, I don't say that too soon.
Yeah, Rabel was very sideways through turn 2. He's middle 3 wide now. On the inside is Justin Michael. He will tuck in behind and slot ahead of the 8 of Brad Slaughter Jr., who changes lanes as Cameron Hearn's got a challenger in the shape of the 1.
4 wide. Oh, my goodness.
Ooh, that's not going to work out well, but they slim it down to 3. They're bouncing off each other out of 4.
And what do you do when you're bouncing off one another? You go lower, and that's what Ricky Harden does, so we're going to stay 4 wide here. I think Slaughter's not going to want to be a part of this. He'll back out, just give Michael the position.
The aggression level has picked up. Dean Thompson sweeps to the outside in the background, and the front 3 duking it out. Ryan Swan on the inside, Hearn and Scioli on the outside, and you're going to see that momentum pay dividends for Scioli. Look at him out-dragging the 1 into turn 3.
Which is very surprising because that front end looks pretty totaled, but it's not affecting him too much. That draft is helping him out a little bit, and he's able to stay with him. I thought he'd drop a little worse, but he's able to maintain for now, but here comes some fresh tires.
Out of turn 4, back up onto the front straightaway here to complete lap number 27. Still 3 across for about second place. And Brad Slaughter Jr. tucks back in line. Harden side drafting Edward Scherer Jr. into 51. They're 3 wide with Rabel on the outside.
Rabel on the outside, gets tight out of turn 2, especially when the Shearer's still blinking, but he's going to use that to his advantage. He's going to get by Rabel by doing that. Harden stuck on the bottom still. 2 by 2 all the way to the front as Scioli went for the lead, and Hearn's going to have a much better run down the straightaway. You can see when the 7 doesn't have draft in front of him, he just sort of drops.
2 by 2, Noah's Ark into 3, and the same out of turn 4 for third place now. Hearn leads Scioli after an aggressive side draft. Then Swan, Michael, Slaughter Jr., Danny Ware, the rest of your top 6. Into turn 1 they head in a pack.
Scioli dives at the bottom, goes below that seam, not something you usually see, but he's able to make it work on somewhat fresh tires, but cannot clear the 4 truck. And being side by side, look at the run that Ryan Swan's going to have, and he's going to look 3 wide.
To the bottom, 3 wide to the lead. Ryan Swan, he's going to have to drive it in here deep if he wants it. He did drive it in deep. Oh, it's going to slide across the nose of Scioli. Scioli over under, Swan to the top side now.
Oh, and Hearn. Oh, there's a crash at the very back as well. They didn't crash at the front somehow, but it looked like Gary Waterworth destroyed somehow, but we stay green, no caution for it.
Bookmarked it to look back at a little bit later. Working lap number 30 now as Justin Michael takes the lead away as those 3, the 7, the 1, and the, who else was that? The 4 were all involved in that scrap out of turn 4. The 87 slid through the 54s of the wall. Bobby Tinch back across the racetrack. Cautions out this time.
Ooh, he's going to keep it off the inside wall. Has some right side damage. Another one down to back straightaway. It looked like that might have been 3 wide gone wrong.
Dean Thompson and then the 22. Yeah, I think he squeezed. I was looking away. Did he squeeze the 22 up there?
It looked like Scruggs didn't really go to the wall.
Yeah.
There's a lane. There's a lane off the wall.
Yeah.
And then Tinch just came across trying to collect it.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those scenarios where the racetrack is a lot wider than the 3 trucks that were side by side. But I think maybe Thompson could have left a little more space. But Scruggs, again, didn't take it to the wall there either.
That was almost what I would call wreck insurance. You got a guy probably not as close to the wall as he could be, but you also got 2 guys on the bottom with 3 wide as close as they can be, and the guy in the very bottom not giving room. As we'll go back to the replay of what I saw in turn 3. It looked like Tom Bourne, Eric Wineland, and Waterworth came together, and that is a huge hit for both those trucks. As that happened as we were watching up front, this all happened at the back. See if Wineland come down.
Yeah.
Bourne's off the bottom a little bit. They kind of came together.
Yeah,
and Waterworth and his bystander.
I'd lean to Wineland in this one a little bit because you see the seam. He keeps coming down, down, down. But you're right. The 16 had his line established. That's why I'm leaning on the 21 for this. But either way, I think the 12 got the short end of the stick in this one.
He definitely did. He had nothing really to do with it, and he gets the absolute worst of it. He kind of saved Wineland from worse damage, though that 21 will still be pretty totaled as we have more pit stops. Some of the front runners come down, some don't. Ryan Swan came down. I believe the 4 of Cameron Hearn came down. Scioli, Justin Michael, Brett Slaughter, they do not.
See the 49 Danny Ware, there's the 4 truck. So staying on the racetrack is the 87 of Justin Michael, Brad Slaughter Jr., James Scioli, Ricky Harden, Joseph R. Jones, and the free pass recipient is Shane Therian in the 83. Nice looking Rat Market truck this week, purple and kind of a purple and pink, I suppose.
Yeah, looking sporty, albeit a little bit damaged, but compared to what a lot of drivers have dealt with, I think that truck will be able to still get to the front. He's 29th. After that, he'll come down to pit road. He's not too many other drivers who are running and are laps down. Aiden Roberson, Waterworth is 2 down, but he's likely done. And I think that's honestly, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, race control ruled racing incident on that incident on the back straightaway, which I have to agree with. You can't really place any blame. I heard a crunch into turn 3. We crashed under. Yeah,
there's a crash. There is a crash.
Oh my
what
goodness.
In the world?
The 53 of Roberson, I think, is the one stopped. This has happened a handful of times this season, and I'm just trying to understand. Oh, you know what? That's a hardware failure.
Yeah,
yep,
his wheel disconnected.
All right. I can't blame him for that. Right here, watch the steering wheel, and bam. And then the
Swan.
one of Swan, oh, he got into him. And I was about ready to tear someone a new one for running into each other under yellow at 50 miles an hour, but sometimes the cat unplugs the wheel and you're stuck. So I've been there.
It had to happen before once in a league race. Me, Jeremy Miller, Brian Chambliss, we were all in our line and we were getting away from the field. We were controlling the field in cup cars, and all of a sudden my wheel turns off. It did the exact same thing Roberson's did, and I crashed pretty much everyone because of a hardware failure, and there's no worse feeling than that.
Yeah.
At least this wasn't a big crash, but unfortunately a shame for Warren Swan.
I've had the old monitor turn off problem before. And that's really frustrating because you lose sight and you can hear yourself crashing into everyone and you can hear everyone mad at you, but you can't see how to fix it. There's no way to stop it. You just end up crashing into something. So,
actually, looks like Ryan Swan got away with it. The front end doesn't look too bad. I'm almost positive he hit him, but the front end looks clean, so he
definitely did hit him. They heard the crunch, but I think you're right. Got away with it. Maybe just hit it at the right angle that it didn't really damage the truck. That HyperX Silverado should continue without issue.
Should pray to the netcode gods on that one, I would say. He's able to live another day. 52, or not 52. Roberson will live as well. He'll go to the back. Damaged anyways, but could have been a lot worse. At the very least, it didn't happen under green.
Well, under green is happening again shortly. This is lap 34 of 90. Now, how quickly does this race go if we go green? From here to the end, it's 40 minutes worth of racing. But that's if we go green from this moment all the way to the checkered. We have not done that so far. Back underway from Michigan. Justin Michael is your leader. Here we go. Got pretty wild up front on the previous restart, and I think we're going to see something similar because they stretched out so much. They're bound to accordion back together as they're 3 wide deeper in the field.
Yeah, 3 wide deeper in the field. A lot of guys who pit last time by are much deeper in the field. This time, Ryan Swan, he was all the way back. I think he restarted 15th, and Cameron Hearns on the bottom with 3 wide, trying to make up positions on Olsen and Danny Ware.
Brad Slaughter Jr. went to the bottom, and he wants the lead away from Justin Michael. Pushes up the racetrack just a touch, but it's going to be a drag race to the stripe. I think Michael's going to win this battle, at least for this lap.
Dean Thompson in the wall. They kept it straight, but I think he had contact with maybe Chris Rabel as they're fanning out to try to avoid him.
High quarters. Thompson, you see him there in the 5 truck right there in the blue and black on the high side. Still door-to-door for the top spot, and Ricky Harden is now in the mix.
He's going to push Michael just barely clear, but Slaughter can send it to the bottom with ease. Gets under Michael as he washes up tight out of turn 4 again, but they keep it straight as Harden will have the run back coming this time to the line. It looked like Ryan Olsen got up the track in 3, but he's able to keep it straight.
Lap traffic ahead, will that play a factor?
Crashing again. Rabel around. Dylan Lee. Dean Thompson as well. Danny Ware too. I think that was Dean Thompson again.
Let us have a look. Four and the 1 are down on the bottom.
Someone said the harsh words for Dean Thompson. That's why I say that.
Right there.
Here.
Yep.
Yeah, back trying to bump draft. It's hard to do in a truck. The bumpers don't line up quite as well. Oh, wow. Ware hit the inside wall, I think, hard.
This is one of those scenarios. Dean's a real-world driver in the Craftsman Truck Series, and I think this is one of those scenarios where the reality probably doesn't translate very well to the sim. I don't think that would have been anything close to a wreck in the real world.
Probably not. I think you can bump better than that in real life, but obviously I wouldn't know. Only he knows, and
yep.
I think he knows that it would work. But iRacing, it just sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's almost like the bumpers on these trucks are bipolar. You can get away with it sometimes you can't. It really depends on the driver and the truck manufacturer for some reason.
With that, we've had a handful of yellow flags thus far. I think next on our docket, we'll probably take another break here in just a moment before we go back racing once more. And I think first up, we'll step away for a couple of moments. And I'm headed to VIR in June for my first time there. And here is... looks like, there's one driver peeling off in the background there, 4-1. Brad
Slaughter,
Skylie, yeah, a couple of them. But we'll step away. I'm headed to VIR for the first time in June. Here's Luke McGrew on Virginia International Raceway.
In the heart of Virginia, there's a stretch of pavement that has ingrained itself in American racing history. Built in 1957 with just a bulldozer and a plot of land, Virginia International Raceway has become an icon. Over the years since its reopening in 2000, it has hosted IMSA, the American Le Mans Series, NASCAR, SCCA, and Champ Car races. Legends have raced there, including Roger Penske, Mark Donohue, Richard Petty, Hurley Haywood, Dan Gurney, and more. Between turns 11 and 12 stood a defying feature, an old oak tree. This tree stood untouched, shading the south end of the course for decades. For some, Oak Tree became a symbol of VIR and a reminder of how road courses used to be built. They used to be built with the lay of the land, following each contour and moving around obstacles, not through them. Earth may have been moved, but not tarnished. Oak Tree was a lasting memory of when tracks were not just built, they came to be, like the tree. Although Oak Tree no longer stands, nor does Hog Pen turn 17, the corners both still bear the name of what used to exist. And the track stays unchanged the way it was meant to be, with the lay of the land, for the land. Maybe that's why Paul Newman called it heaven on earth.
Well, plenty of drama for a Tuesday night truck race. It is the Area Truck Series, round number 5 from Michigan International Speedway. Welcome back to SimTV. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Connor Hornigan. If you'd like to watch live timing and scoring, that is available at simtvbroadcasting.com. You can get the gaps and lap times and pit stop information, car number and driver name, and all the other things that are useful and informative to follow along from home in an alternative tab. You can also go to twitch.tv/area iRacing to watch the stream, or right here on youtube.com/SimTV Broadcasting. Coming back to the green flag A bunch of yellow flags slowing the progress of this one, Connor, but we're about closing in on halfway here. And again, the potential for this race to go by quickly certainly exists, but you got to get going with green flag racing for it to tick away quickly.
Yeah, I think after the first yellow, we were getting a little bit of the rhythm, and then it kind of died down, and now we're kind of back to square one still, trying to figure out if we can actually do this here. Just got to get some laps under our belt here.
Here we go, lap 40 of 90. Underway once more from Michigan International Speedway. Justin Michael takes him back to the lead. Ioli way down on the bottom into turn one. Under Bobby Tinch trying to go places quick after he just pit.
And we'll see how much of a difference his tires make. Again, we haven't had much green running, but he's going to try to make it work on those new tires, get some positions. Looks 3 wide under Tom Bourne and Ted Wade, who get close to one another. Meanwhile, at the front, Justin Michael gets passed by Edward Shearer Jr. He's kind of been the blinking bandit tonight, but he gets to the front.
Yeah, that makes me worried. We've seen how much that truck's been blinking in and out.
Oh, no.
And right there, he gets turned by the 87 right in front of the field. Does everybody miss him? They do, but the caution is right back out.
Well, I don't know about on Justin Michael's end, but at least on my personal end, he wasn't blinking there. But even then, that's what can happen.
I didn't see him blink either.
They kind of came together, but he also is trying to block. That's not something that should be happening on lap 41 of a 90-lap race. Block like that does not need to happen.
Yep. Turns left right here.
Yeah, and you could argue that Michael should go to the apron, but no, he doesn't. He has the right to hold his line, and the 51 kind of has to honor that and be aware of that. Not a wreck that should happen before halfway, in my opinion, Kyle.
Yeah. Again. We were making the comment that last night we had a handful of yellows in the Cup Series race, but most of them were justifiable accidents. Tonight, we've just had a lot of drivers making silly mistakes, and this is one of them. I mean, you're not even remotely close to being clear of them. I don't get really turning left or even just crowding them down there. I mean, the racing line is 3 lanes to the right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not even here. I mean, here's a big issue, too, but it's really at a turn 4 that's the issue. As Shearer gets to the lead, he's turning left. Look, you'll see here if we get the same shot again, is look how low he is on exit. He sees E7 crossing over. Instead of just giving him the bottom, instead of going to the top, he comes 4 lanes down to try to pinch him down, and he tries to turn him even lower when the 87 is holding his line. I'm sorry, but I commend the Justin Michael for doing that. There's no reason to be doing that on lap 41 of a 90-lap race. And as I think almost the way I'm complaining, my chat should be disabled, just like the driver chat just did.
All the drivers.
Yes.
Wow, interesting. Yeah. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, blocking is a self-policing situation. I'm come from the world, and again, I come from a road racing background, so my opinion on this is different than the oval drivers. My background is you get one move to deviate from the racing line. Once you've done it, that's your block. Now, that's not how oval racing works. In oval racing, my opinion is do whatever you want, but if you throw a block and you get wrecked, you cannot key up the mic and call out somebody for wrecking you. That's just how it is.
You block, you pay. Simple as that. That 51 tried to block, protect, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't probably the right move to do, and he tried to block, and unfortunately he paid. He didn't get any damage out of it. Especially thankful there that we didn't have another big-time crash, because he could have turned himself up in front of the field and taken out even more trucks than we already have. So that's the one positive we'll take out of this, but it's not something that really should be happening. The race is, we can't even make it on a tank of fuel from here, I don't think.
No.
Unless we keep wrecking like that. If that's what Shearer's plan is, then maybe we can, but that's probably not going to work out very well.
Yeah, and could the 87 have gone further left and gone onto the apron? Sure, but and that the apron is fair racing surface here, but as far as where the white line is painted, the racetrack's above that. So there can be no expectation of forcing a driver down there. Yes, you can make a pass down there. Yes, you can race down there. But if you force a driver down there, you can fully expect to get yourself hooked around, and that's what happened there. So just drivers kind of standing up for their racing room there. And we're going to re-rack them and restack them and go again. The one saving grace is that these yellows are relatively short, but we're about 2 laps from halfway at the restart.
Yeah, 2 laps from halfway. Still got varying strategies. Michael's leading, obviously leading his strategy because he's leading the race. Cameron Hurd pit, I think, a little later. He might be on the same strategy, but he's 5th. Skyly pit a little later. He's already up to the 8th position. Tom Bourne, who was part of the first crash, he's got damage, but he's still top 10. So still a lot of strategies. Still fuel numbers swirling around, but with the way it's going, it's not really an issue yet unless we get a green run.
No, I think for the vast majority of drivers, there was some that just pit. Therian did, and Sogak did, Ted Wade did, but I just think they're going to wait for the first yellow after the halfway point, maybe lap 50, lap 60, and then pit and be done. And that's what I would do, because the way we've been going, I'd expect yellows to the end, and track position will be key. You're not going to get a lot of time to race up there unless they clean it up. So this is one of those races, Connor, I want to be up front the whole time.
No doubt about that. We got new front runners at the front. Where'd Joseph Jones come from in second? He'll restart on the outside of Justin Michael here, and we'll take the green flag. Michael gets us back going again, but all new players at the front.
Someone's Kyle Busch in the background. Who is that approaching the field? Is that Bronson Stafford? I thought he was going to keep his foot in it and sail around the outside like the, was it 2012 Budweiser shootout?
He was too far back to do that. He's just came back on the track 40 laps down, so no reason to do that as the battle for the front intensifies again. Michael went to the top like Kerr did earlier, and Ricky Hard takes advantage, goes to the bottom. He has help from the 93.
Yeah, he's going to go to the lead. Meanwhile, in the background, a couple of drivers trading spots. Here's David Weishart to the bottom of a 3-wide scenario for a moment. Mason Kane and Justin Munsell as the front group is side by side, 2 by 2. Noah's Ark to the front straight.
Harden clear for the lead. Michael's going to make the aggressive move. He'll go high, stays too wide. Harden still trying to make sure the 93 doesn't dive under him. They go too wide for the lead. 93 drops back. Hard to do that. Again, under that seam, not the preferred line. Harden really shut the door on Justin Michael.
And Alan Elwood in the middle of this, where did he come from? He was wrecked and underneath a flying truck 15, 20 laps ago, and here he is focusing forward, trying to move his way inside the top 5.
I don't know what happened there, but Harden just completely missed the bottom. I think the 87 got under him, and he wasn't ready for it, and it shot him up the track, but he keeps it clean. But yeah, great job by Elwood to get back through the field up into the top 5 as here comes Ryan Swan for the lead, another driver. Where'd he come from?
Scioli inching left as we're on board now with Cameron Hearn, who's got a big head of steam. He's going to shoot the middle here. Scruggs on the outside, Joseph R. Jones on the inside. Now down the back straightaway, the high side carrying good speed. And they're side by side for the top spot. Ryan Swan clears the 87, but just.
Look at Skyly just diving to the bottom, making sure he uses those newer tires as much as he can. And just look at the grip he has. Even on the bottom, he still gets a good run out of the corner. His only hindrance right now is that damage, but he's still making it work very well. As Swan, this is the furthest out in front we've seen a leader get. He's trying to work the lanes, and the 87's not going to have anything of it.
Split. Watch the 8 truck is Slaughter Jr. Working the high lane here. He carries some good momentum. The 7 turns down on corner exit. Isn't able to carry as much speed as that up outer groove, and you see him lose some spots. Scioli does. To the 4, and now the 29 of Weishart, who's back in the mix.
And we're seeing a much smaller pack this time. Almost contact. Swan slid up in head of the 87. Justin Michael's not getting a lot of respect right now, and he has to lift and give way to Brad Slaughter Jr. as Scioli looked like he lost a lot of time in turn 3 that time by. I wonder if he's overheating and had to lift early because of that.
Maybe. Past halfway. Working our way towards 50 laps to go. The high side condensing. Scruggs got nowhere to go here as they come out of turn 2.
Ooh, nowhere to go. Just got to find clean track, and he's able to do that on the very top line as Cameron Hearn gets left in the dust on the very bottom with no help. As we're starting to see a lot more single file and a lot less trucks in the mix. It's really only about 19, 20 trucks that are really in the mix for anything right now after all the crashes we've had. Swan goes to the bottom. Him and Brad Slaughter Jr. getting testy here.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, with the majority of trucks that are out, those are the drivers that were either unfortunately caught up in someone else's business, or they were the ones that caused it. So that cleans things up a little bit and makes the chances of going green to the end a lot higher, but they're still racing really hard up front here for this top spot. Slaughter Jr. crosses over the one again, elevator move top to bottom in turn 2.
And Michael has a run. Does he want to go 3 wide with it? I don't think he will. He'll just push the 1 truck as there's still 3 wide back there with Hearn Harden and Paul Irvin, David Weishart. We haven't talked about the 29 truck at all tonight, but he's been silently up there all night long. He's still side by side with Hearn.
Ricky Harden right behind the Fazekas truck, the number 4 of Cameron Hearn. Getting drafting lines set up almost like Daytona. Look how deep Cameron Hearn drove there into turn 1. The 15 couldn't follow him in the arrow shadow that he was leaving, but Cameron making good progress on the inside. But that upper groove again, that's where I want to be down the backstretch.
And you could see the difference it's making, almost 4 or 5 miles an hour difference compared to the Ford truck. But because of that, you stack up into the corner, and what that does is allow Cameron Hearn, because he has no one in front of him, he's able to drive in harder, make up a lot of time doing that. We saw that last night. We're seeing it again tonight. And it especially helps when you can do that, be at the front of the line, also have help behind you. He had Pollard behind him, but he wants to get ducked back to the top as they're still side by side for his lead spot.
Yeah, 2 by 2 again. A very nice even rows this time. The 29 is elected to go to the bottom. The 22 and 93 are losing their touch on the front. 93 in particular. Whoa, that was a big slide there from the 4 to the bottom. 3 across for second.
That was all because Ryan Swan had a big moment in turn 1. He slid the right rear and lost a bunch of momentum. That's what we're talking about. Momentum racing. If you don't have it, you're going to go backwards. And he's going to go from battling for the lead to barely inside the top 10.
Oh, watch the 4 slip up here.
Whoa, big slide. Who was that? Scruggs almost directed. That was a great save. But look at this 3x3 action.
Everyone, now they're using the whole way to the track. A minute ago, they were all fighting for the bottom inside lane. Now 3 across down into turn 1. And Paul Irvin, we have not talked about him a lot tonight. He's had a very quiet evening, but has been as low as 33rd place in this race, and now he's as high as he's been running all night long.
Yeah, really good stuff for the 3. He needs a little bit of a better run right now as we get by some lap traffic, as I'm still looking at this 4 truck. Cameron Hearn is making inroads on fresher tires. He easily glides by Justin Michael, and now it's only him and Brad Slaughter Jr., but he washes up out of 4. This is the farthest out we've seen a leader get.
Yeah, as far as the tire situation goes, Brad Slaughter Jr. actually has fresher tires than Hearn. So Hearn has now passed all the cars that he had an advantage on. Justin Michael, though, give him a big, long shove down the straightaway into turn 1. Here he goes to the bottom.
And Slaughter's willing to keep that top line for himself.
Oh, I hear contact. Are they crashing? I heard it.
Oh, yeah. What in the world happened here? That is an odd place to crash.
On the end of the front straightaway. Gets hooked from Anna Sogak. And finished off by the 66.
It is,
yeah, comes down again. Changed lanes, going left. Again, watch in relation to the seam. Crosses it, turns about halfway into the lane.
I don't know. At least this didn't bring out a yellow, but that type of wreck is just not something that should be happening, let alone for 24th place.
Down the backstretch, Brad Slaughter Jr. goes defensive on Hearn, but they're swiping and dicing down here. Swiper, no swiping, though. Slaughter hangs on.
Almost looking like the Indy 500, breaking the draft, breaking the air down the straightaways. This is finally what we were thinking we were going to see earlier, but we're finally getting to see it. It's starting to spread out a little bit. That draft is starting to play a little bit less of a factor, and dirty air and tire wear starting to come into play. As you can see, the top 4, top 5 are really getting spread out, but that draft still brings Cameron Hearn all the way back on the entrance to the turns, but he loses a lot of it through the center.
And now we're starting to string the field out a little bit. We haven't really gotten a lot of this yet tonight, and this is probably something the drivers have been longing for. It's just a little bit of a longer run to let the tire wear play in. And tire wear will be a factor. 17 laps on them for Brad Slaughter Jr. Look at this. It is a second difference, a 39.970 to a 41.022. And for Cameron Hearn, a similar story. A 39.7 is his best, 41.082. So the longer you go, the more tire wear factors in, and then the easier it gets long term if you are able to save those tires.
And while everyone wants green flag racing, including us, and we want to get some racing in, this is going to worry almost everyone. It's going to be tough for a lot of drivers to make it on fuel, if it's even possible. Brad Slaughter Jr. has not been in since lap 37, and we've only had one of the yellows since then. So there's a lot of drivers in his boat right now that are probably worried about if they have to make that pit stop or not.
David Weishart up into 4th place. It has been an interesting night. He's been kind of all over the board with different strategies playing out, but here he is now chasing Dustin Michael. As far as laps led,
Whoa.
Lysart has only led one. And whoa, they're getting slicing and dicing here for the lead.
Yep, Hearn got to his outside. Slaughter gave him the outside, surprisingly, but he's going to drive it into one. Here comes the crossover. Hearn's trying to pull it off, but lap traffic, Braden Goddard in the way. He's still going to have the run to do it. He dives low.
Side draft here, maybe a little bit. He's going to get right on the quarter panel, pull away just a little. Give Cameron Hearn the lead, but here comes a shove from Michael into turn 3. The 8 right on the quarter panel into turn 3.
You can see how much he wants to keep that position. He does not want to give this up to the 4 truck. It's got to run.
Caution.
There's a caution. Out.
And do not know where it is.
I saw a truck stopping out of turn 2, and I don't know if it was for them or not. I'm trying to figure out. I think it might have been for Michael Curhan stopping, but I'm not fully sure.
Let's see what happened. Find what you were referencing. I don't think that would have triggered it. Let's see if I can find session events column. No. Huh.
Let's see what triggered the lights, if anything, on the pace car. But this, though, takes out the worry of fuel saving.
I'm surprised
think it was
that
for Curhan,
brought out
yeah.
the yellow because he was so far to the inside.
Yeah, this is I mean, he could have went the pit road, but yeah, he probably didn't expect the yellow to be triggered for something way off the track.
I
but
would.
there,
I mean, we've seen here, even last night, we saw that the cautions didn't get triggered below the apron. Are we sure that was it?
there was nothing else that I saw.
That is so weird. I mean, honestly, I don't even blame him because he was so far off the racetrack. I would not expect that to trigger a yellow, but I do get, yeah, you just had to pit lane, but yeah, either way, here comes everyone. This would be their last stop, I'd imagine. They could easily make it to the end from here with just over 30 laps to go.
Last stop for fuel for sure. Oh, Hearn missed his box a little bit.
Hank Caston's
crashed.
crashed.
Is Arc race. Is Arca here tonight? I don't know. I think just went in there too hard and then kind of just
when it's
drove
the
into-
same guy over and over and over again on the brakes, you got to start looking at yourself. I'm just saying. I mean, how many times?
I'm not disagreeing.
How many times do you have to run into the back of people or crash not trying to run? I mean, this track is not that small.
Yeah, I mean, no, this is a very wide track, especially on pit road. That shouldn't happen because you don't have to enter single file. He could just go to his inside or outside. I don't understand that. But even with missing his stall by a little bit, Cameron Hearn did still get out first. So, and like I was about to say, this is definitely our last stop on fuel. But we are going to restart with probably exactly 30 laps to go, maybe 29 laps to go. I would not be surprised if we still see some pit stops for tires, depending on the runs we get, though.
Could get a run to the end. Again, as we're kind of paring down the field here, we started with 42. As far as lead lap drivers, we're down to 27. And as far as competitive lead lap cars, probably down to 25 or less in terms of crash damage. So we're getting down to it. Before we finish this out, before I get distracted with the closing moments of this race, race fans, be sure to check out shop.areairacing.com for merchandise to represent your favorite drivers and teams. Shop from our brand new selections of champion t-shirts, jackets, hats, and more. Easier to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. Head to shop.areairacing.com.
And this is... did we just crash on the front straightaway? Blaine Harrison's around.
Give me car number 66.
66. What? And he ran into the back of Joseph Jones, and then Braden Goddard.
All right,
hit him.
okay. Now this is ridiculous, Connor. I mean,
I know.
what is happening? What happened here? The only way that this happens is that you're completely not even paying attention to your screen. This is absolutely ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I 100% agree with you. He was slowing down, and then he's just going forward. Joseph Jones was sitting there, not like he was obstructed, not like Braden Goddard was obstructed either. It is not iRacing. You don't need actual spotters for iRacing. You need to use your two eyes for that. And there's two people right there who haven't been using them tonight and didn't use them there. And it's just
there is
absolutely ridiculous.
no excuse for that. I can't even.
There's not.
There's absolutely no defense for what just happened here.
it's scary. I'm sorry if this is too harsh, but it's the type of people you're scared to watch on the actual road because that can happen on a freeway, a stack up like that, and it shouldn't. I don't understand how this type of thing happens, and it's not even the first time. It's amateur hour. I don't understand.
There are some nights in sim racing when you just have to wonder why they even bother to show up. I mean, if you're not going to look out your windshield, then what are you doing? I mean, running into the back of someone under caution on a straightaway, I don't understand it.
I mean, if you can't pace around at 70, then why are you even in here to go green at 170? It blows my mind. That is literally something I've seen in C-Class street stocks, even rookie street stocks, rookie legends. Those are stuff you see in those types of sessions. And this is not where it should be happening at all. I don't understand it. Not that it should even happen in rookie street
Area
stocks.
is a better league than that, for absolutely sure.
100%.
We saw it last night, but that kind of driving has no place here. In my
has no
personal
place in the
opinion,
real world
as
either.
a broadcaster, as a professional, you can't look at that and give any excuse.
It doesn't have any place in the real world either.
I mean, really nowhere, but
anywhere.
Yeah.
You don't even do that in GTA 5.
Yeah. Regardless, rant over.
For now.
For now. Coming back to the green with 29 laps remaining.
We'll see if we get some laps here. Once again, no fuel games here. It was already spicy when we thought fuel was an issue. Now fuel's not going to be an issue. And you got Cameron Hearn, who's hungry for a win. And same thing for Justin Michael and the truck champ Brad Slaughter Jr. And David Weishart's in fourth all of a sudden. It's going to get dicey.
Here we go. 29 to go. Cameron Hearn, Justin Michael out front. Brad Slaughter, David Weishart, Ryan Swan all looking for a victory. We're back underway.
Already weaving Weishart to the bottom. It's going to help the 8 truck and leave Justin Michael hanging. We'll see that type of run that bottom gets out of 2, or really more so what the top gets out of 2 as Hearn's clear for the lead, but Slaughter's going to probably look low. He's got the push. He's going to go for it.
Ricky Harden slots into the mix there on the outside lane. Look at this, battling into turn 3. The 8 truck gets a shove from the 87 and takes the top spot. Wow, Justin Michael slid big time up to that middle groove, and now he's going to slot right ahead of the 4. 2 lanes pushing, 29 and 15 on the inside, and the 87's going to split middle.
Yeah, I was seeing that coming. It's going to get really tight. Hearn's going to try to follow middle. Weishart didn't want to give him the room at all, but he had no choice but to, or make another big crash happen. As the 87 gets back to the point, 3 wide for second, which is what Justin Michael would love to see for the rest of this race.
I doubt that it's going to be without him in the middle of it. It's just too competitive up here at the front. They've been slicing and dicing, and to their credit, for the most part, they haven't really leaned on each other a lot up here, but I don't know how far we're going to get before that starts happening. It's just too much on the line. A win gets you into the playoffs.
We have seen stack-ups happen at the front of this field, under green, not under yellow, but it is still a possibility, especially if the rear bumper, that 87, is still unstable, but Slaughter Jr. is still pushing hard into turn number 1. 189 into turn number 1.
High speed and high intensity here in the closing 25 laps. As Justin Munsell, he was your pick to win, runs 13th right now. And I think I picked the 16. He's,
yes.
Where is he at? 18th place. Not doing very good. Look at the move from the 4.
Oh,
the 15's in the wall into turn 3. And where did Cameron Hearn come from? Now he's middle 3 wide.
That was a wild, wild move. I think Ricky Harden got scared by the 8 having to give room, but he'll be fine to continue. No issue there. But that was a wild move. Harden's trying to make it happen early.
Oh, juke to the left.
Big dive.
Cameron Hearn is so aggressive right now, and he feels very comfortable in this car. And when you're that comfortable, you can make big moves like that, but don't slide up. Don't overuse your luck alongside the 87, because Justin Michael showed up to race.
You think he's hungry or for a win or what? Cameron Hearn has had everything go wrong when competing for a win. He's trying to settle it once and for all, coming to 25 laps to go this time by. He's just trying to completely end this rough streak of just bad break after bad break. And it's not without some issues on his own, but a lot of it has not been in his control. He's trying to control his destiny to victory lane tonight.
And he's doing everything in his power, being up at the front, battling for the lead. Just don't start leaning on each other, because as soon as you touch fenders, that is license to kill. We've seen that be the case in the past.
Oh, he got loose there. This is not going to end well if Michael keeps doing that, but I can't blame Justin Michael for doing that. He has to. You have to pinch that right rear and keep them pinned down. And Cameron Hearn is talking about how Cameron Hearn's telling him on the radio right now, if you're willing to pinch me, you got to realize what you're putting yourself at risk for.
Yeah, and for Cameron Hearn, the danger of washing up into him. The safe place to be is really on the inside, because if you drift up, the guy on the outside is going to go for the spin. But here comes Weishart to the outside looking for second place.
But also, the outside's the place you want to be for speed, because everyone's going to be there for momentum down the straightaways, and if you don't have that momentum and you're on the bottom having no help, you're likely to go backwards a few positions, and that's what Cameron Hearn's in danger of, because Weishart's to his outside, Brad Slaughter Jr. is lined up behind him. Listen, Michael's just trying to control the lanes.
And I like where Brad Slaughter Jr. is right now, because he can arc the corner in a little bit, use a little bit less tire than second and third ahead of him, and they're not going to let Justin Michael get away, so I don't mind being fourth for the time being, as long as the 15 plays ball with you here. Ricky Harden right behind.
One thing I'm seeing, I was seeing in the last run, but this run too, is really the top 4, top 5 are the ones that I see in play. Ryan Swan, he might just be laying back there. Mason Kane, Dylan Lee too. Haven't talked about those two a lot tonight, but they could be just laying back, but they're not really able to challenge for anything right now quite yet. But Hearn, Weishart, oh, they almost touched. But Hearn, Weishart, Michael Slaughter, they're all going for it right now.
Oh. Back into single file, but for how long? Not for very long, because look at Mason Kane. He's been the wild card on that upper groove. We've seen that on restarts before, if he's going to squeeze to the outside of the wall. And man, Ryan Swan used him up there just a little bit, but they get back single file. That 31 truck, though, was good on the outside.
Yeah, he's one of the only few even trying it in 3 and 4, and he's making it work all right. He's good into the corner, but he loses a lot center. That's where he's losing most.
Side, the one truck out of control goes to the apron.
And that was off the bumper of Kane. Itself, those two came together and they were able to save it. They're going to drop back to the second back. Ted Wade, Dustin Scruggs took a base of action, and that lets the top 5 get away.
Do they have a score to settle, perhaps?
That was, I think that was a little bit. You see stack ups into one all the time. That looked like a product of that, but I don't think they have a score to settle. They have a pack to settle, because now they're all jumbled up 6th on back.
Here's a look at it into turn number 1. It's right on board with Mason Kane. How much contact was there? Just the slightest.
Does not take much, but a great save from Ryan Swan.
Yeah, did a good job gathering it back up.
And this lets the top 5 kind of, especially Harden and Slaughter, they don't have to worry about keeping track position. They pretty much have it to the end if this goes green. They're all alone. It's going to take some effort for Alan Elwood to get up there.
20 laps to go. 32 goes to the middle. Ted Wade had an up and down night also.
Oh yeah, great qualifying run. I think he was collected in an earlier crash, but he's able to persevere, and he needs a good run to happen tonight. And top 10, top 15 is kind of where he's on par for right now.
$20 laps to go, and the timer, the lap counter starts ticking down from here. So the pressure is on. The front 5, I think they're happy to stay line astern like this for a little while and try to establish some distance back to that second pack. But you get me to 10 laps to go, and that's when the fur and feathers will start flying up front.
Hey, this is where you see how important draft is. Alan Elwood was not faster than any of the top 5 last time by. He's in pretty much clean air. Maybe he has a tiny bit of draft, but he has no push behind him. Last time by, 40.858. Once again, that's not faster than, it actually was faster than the pack last time by the front 5, but not really by that much. And it doesn't really help when you're trying to get single file to catch the top 5. You got guys darting out trying to make time up like Dylan Lee was there. At this, it's kind of like a pack race at this point. You need there's one lead line, and there's
trouble back straight away. The 25 and the 31 of Kane banging doors, and we're going to get away with it.
It looked like neck code. They weren't really together, and then all of a sudden the 31 whipped around, but a great save once again. You see right here. Yeah, that was an iRacing thing, but look at the job Mason Kane did. That was exceptional wheeling.
That'll wake you up if you were just kind of tootling around there. I don't know that tootling is the word I'd use to describe much of what was happening tonight, though. Up front still, the front 5. Harden's starting to drop off the tail of this just a little bit. But still lots of time left for Alan Elwood and Ryan Swan to get back in this mix if they get focused.
Elwood, once again, a little bit faster than the lead 5, but not by enough. He needs to get a little bit closer to their drafting. He needs Ryan Swan to really get up there to push him. What he does not want to happen is Swan try to get that 6th spot away. That cannot happen if you're trying to catch these guys.
Into turn 1. Weishart biding his time. Same with Hearn, same with Slaughter. And lap times wise, 41.083. That was about 800ths quicker than Justin Michael's best lap, or previous lap, I should say. So they are closing.
And Ryan Swan was even faster than that. So with him being able to stick to the rear end of Alan Elwood, it's going to help that process increase further. You'll get a little bit more draft as they get closer to Ricky Harden, but also you'll get that arrow wash up the track in the middle of the corner, and you got to be careful of that so you don't lose time while trying to gain some. As Harden at the tail end was the fastest of 41.2, and last time by Swan and Elwood were about a 10th faster than that, so they're starting to make some inroads.
Yeah, and we could go like this all the way to the end here as we got a little bit of scrambling for third now. Brad Slaughter Jr. on the outside of the 4. We could go green to the end from here now that we've got the field spread out and got a bunch of trucks packed up in the garage. And that might be a license for these drivers to start racing a bit more aggressively here.
And that was Slaughter taking advantage of the check up into the corner. When you, even with 5 trucks only, you get stacked up like that, you have to lift a little earlier. And Slaughter took advantage of that, got to the right rear of Cameron Hearn and put him in a helpless spot and just made that pass look pretty much as easy as it could. Yeah, they're coming.
16, now 15 laps to go. And they are closing within draft range now. And a little bit of disorganization back here. Still some good racing with Dylan Lee. We hadn't really talked a lot about Dylan tonight, but he's had a pretty solid night. Started 21st, fell as low as 32nd, and was running up about as high as he had been until he got in that little tussle with the 31.
What about who's in 8th place? Shane Therian.
Oh, man,
Where'd
he got the
come
free
from?
pass not that long ago.
And he's all the way in the top 10, and now he's the one, just like Alan Elwood probably was talking about to Ryan Swan, he's the one who's hoping for some help, hoping for a push, but Paul Irvin's got a lot more damage in the 38, and they've got a long ways to go. As we're getting more action, Cameron Hearn wants to go to the bottom.
Here he comes, down to the bottom in 1 and 2. He lost third to Brad Slaughter Jr. a couple laps ago, and just now decided, I like that back, and maybe give me one more.
Yeah, he went to the bottom down the back straightaway on Slaughter, and he was able to make it work. But now you get to the point when you don't have a push down the straightaways, it's going to get tougher to make that work, as he's just going to absolutely fly it into 3 to try to stay even with the 29, which he does. But you know Brad Slaughter's probably not going to go down there with him. He's just going to push Weishart maybe by.
Well, Slaughter Jr. is going to pair up with the 29, obviously, and give him a nice good shove. That will prevent the 4 from being able to complete this pass. But he stays alongside. The shove didn't really go anywhere because they ran into the wall of Justin Michael out front.
Ooh, Hearn and Weishart, they might have touched that time, and that might give the 4 the 2nd spot. He's trying to squeeze up, couldn't do it. That was almost a crash right there. It almost looks like when these guys are side by side, when Hearn's making these moves, they're a little bit faster than Elwood and Swan. They pulled another 10th out on those 2.
That's interesting. Note, maybe they're kind of accordioning and leaving too much on entry. Brad Slaughter Jr. right in behind the Matco Tools 29 truck. Side drafting off the 4. Cameron Hearn so badly wanted to clear himself up, but he wasn't even close.
And this is just letting Justin Michael control the lanes. He knows the top lane's the most volatile to him, but also Cameron Hearn is when he sends it like that, but doesn't need to defend Hearn down the straightaway. He just needs to kind of let the outside get a little bit of an edge on the 4 truck, and even as far into the corner as Cameron Hearn wants to send it, he won't be able to get to the inside of the 87 if he just controls the lanes right, but Weishart's probably going to clear him here.
As far as
not quite.
Lap leaders, Justin Michael has led one of the biggest chunks of this race. Weishart's led 1 lap, Hearn's led 17, Slaughter 10, Ricky Harden's gotten 1. Alan Elwood has not led a lap. Ryan Swan's got a couple. There's a few other lap leaders throughout the field, but the 87 has by far got the majority of them.
But it doesn't matter unless you lead the last one. So he's got to make sure he's still in a position to do that. Next time buys 10 laps to go. He's been in this spot the entire time, and you can only assume clean air. Ooh, they might have made contact again, but you can only assume that the clean air is the best for the tires. Well, how hard he's probably having to drive this truck into the corner is he's probably having to work the wheel more than he wants to, even with clean air. So that's something to note as well in case he gets challenged.
Down the front straightaway. 10 laps to go.
You see Hearns trying to dive down and get any sort of positioning on Weishart. They are getting so close. If he cleared Weishart when he was just barely a quarter panel not clear, it could have been a different race if Hearn got positioning, but he's still got a lot of work to do if he wants it. Ricky Harden's tailing off again, and looks like Elwood and Swan have stalled in that dirty air.
Down the front stretch, 9 laps to go.
It's pretty much down to probably these 5, maybe these 7. They're just battling too much for 8th. Theory and Irvin are actually side by side back there now. Little weaving down the backstretch. Weishart gets
the 29
turned.
And we will stay green. And the
nope.
No, there's the yellow.
Saw that kind of coming, though.
And I wonder how that will be. Let's have a look. Yeah, just a little bit too tight to him. Just trying to side draft Connor, and it's just a little bit too close.
Well, he had no choice to, because he's going to lose that position if he doesn't side draft too hard here. Maybe netcode, but so close it's hard to tell.
It's close enough that netcode or not, the 4 is at fault for this, Connor, but you had to side draft to it. It was just a little too much.
It's just a part of how the racing has been. If he doesn't do that, he's going to probably get passed by Brad Slaughter Jr. again. So it's a tough situation. Hurd was doing everything he could to keep the track position there. Just a little bit too aggressive, and now I'd say this opens up strategy, but it probably shouldn't. Everyone should take 4 tires, but we saw some gamblers last night. I think it was maybe Chris Rabel and someone else. 2 drivers stayed out last night, did not work out. We're going to have a similar late restart in this one. See if we have any gamblers.
I don't know. What do you do? What do you do here, Connor?
Well, if I'm in the lead, I feel like I have to take 4. I don't feel like it's good to not take tires with how many laps we had on the tires. The tire wear, they were about a second off.
Yeah, so they're going to come. Oh, there's the 15's going to stay out, and the 10. Ooh, that's going to be interesting. I like this call. Oh,
Dylan Lee as well. So we got some drivers staying out, but we're also going to have to pay attention to who takes 2 tires. That'll be important for the restart. David Weishart stayed out as well. That is interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if I love this as much for Dylan Lee as I did for Ricky and Allen. I don't know that if I'm the 25, I would have taken tires to give myself the best shot as possible, just because he was a little bit deeper in the field. But for Ricky and Allen, I think look, the pace, I'm not sure how much it's going to matter in 4 laps. 2 of them are going to be winding up to speed anyway.
Slaughter Jr. takes 2. It looks like Paul Irvin took 2. I think everyone else is going to come out with 4, though. So that's a lot more varying strategy than I thought we would see, honestly. Tires is going to be tough. It's not that beneficial for, I believe, in my opinion, for Paul Irvin, but that's the type of thing that will benefit Ricky Hard and Alan Elwood. Drivers doing that 2-tire strategy to get in front of the guys who have been leading the rest of this race. I think that will be the key to if a Harden or Elwood could maybe compete for the win.
So, coming to 6 laps to go.
It's been a wild one.
Yeah. And we're coming up on, actually, we're going to go over the length of the Cup race, which was 10 laps longer.
That kind of sums it up.
Yeah.
Trying to see who else stayed out. Harden, Elwood, Dylan Lee. Weishart's an odd one, but I think this is just kind of a protest of the crash or something. Philip York, we haven't talked about him all night. Gary Waterworth is he's a lap down. He'll go to the back. So 5 trucks stay out, and then Brad Slaughter Jr. and Paul Irvin on 2, 6th and 7th. And then you get back to Justin Michael in 8th.
Wow. Getting the cat in the lap for the last 5 laps of this one, Connor.
I had one beside me.
Yeah.
Well, they went outside my room, and then they cried to get outside my room. Then they cried to get inside my room. You know how cats are.
I do know, but I've had to put Apollo away sometimes, and I've just kind of given up. So he hangs out with me for most of the race. He's back for this 5-lap shootout.
I think what's really gonna hurt Justin Michael is that he's the first one on fresh tires, yes, but he's restarting 8th in the outside lane. You can make that work maybe in the Cup car, and I know the top lanes have momentum even tonight, but he's not gonna be able to really make any sort of move on the top. He's gonna have nowhere to go. It really plays into the favor of Ryan Swan, I think, who's the first one on fresh tires on the bottom lane. I think he can really do something here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. 5 laps. I like having tires. I like having track position better. If this was 10 laps, it's different. I think I'd pick this 87, but I don't know up front. If they can cling to it, or if we get another quick yellow, which is highly likely, I would like those 2 trucks up front, the 15 of Ricky Harden, the 10 of Alan Elwood. It is game time here for Michigan. 5 laps to go. Green flag back in the air, and they're getting 3 wide already, so who knows if we'll make it back to the stripe again without a yellow flag, and the 15 and 10 are clear.
That was just Weishart getting in the way a little bit, but he'll drop back with a lot of damage. The top 2, actually Ricky Harden, not the top 2, it's second the battle's for. Ricky Harden's well away. Dylan Lee got sideways. Slaughter got sideways into Dylan Lee.
Back across the racetrack. Oh boy. There's that crash. There's that caution.
Oh man.
And like I said, track position is king. One truck big time into the wall there.
That might have been Slaughter. And guess who is in third? Ryan Swan on 4 fresh tires.
Ooh, okay, all right, okay. But he's only going to have 2 laps to get it done. And like I said, it takes 1 lap to wind these things out to speed. And let's go back and see. I mean, it all started with the 25 here, but let's see exactly how this tips off.
It was kind of both of them.
Did he get
contact?
Okay, right there. So either way, it wasn't on the 25.
Oh, Justin Michael got Justin Michael got damaged.
Oh, the 5 of Dean Thompson. How much he could have done about that, and then the 8 into the wall.
And that was pretty much good night and good riddance to the race. I think that's what Bradslaw Jr. might have said. And the 25, they both just came across the track, and there was nowhere for a lot of drivers to go on that one.
Yeah.
Tom Boren got clipped late.
Yeah, so was there contact? Nah, I don't think so. I think 25 just got loose there, but that's not where the crash starts, right here.
Shane Therian's in the barrels live. And yes, that was a product of not 4 fresh tires. You get sideways are easy. So that's what that was. Hank Caston gets through one, thankfully. What is happening with Shane Therian?
But it's just, you get a record, you know?
We got a chronic smoker in the infield. No, it's just Shane Therian on top of the barrels.
Oh,
don't mind him. I think this is... Well, that just sums it up, really. I don't think a wreck actually happened here. I really just think he was tired of the race. I think that was just in protest, because he was in that crash. So sometimes that's just how you feel. And that's the way it goes, which is a shame because he did have a good recovery.
Yeah, and as far as his championship run, he hasn't had the best of seasons. He's got 2 top 10s, but just barely a 9th last week at Watkins Glen, a 10th at Charlotte, and his only other start was at Iowa where he finished 16th. So it's like tonight might be his worst race of the season. But it hasn't been all rose petals and sunshine there for him either.
No, it hasn't been. He's definitely had a little bit of a struggle, just to say the least. Down 16th coming into this week. He actually climbed up to 16th last week. He did not run, might not have ran Daytona, so he hasn't ran every race either. But this will definitely not help. The only positive to this is with so much attrition, he is still likely to finish in the top 27 or top 28. Actually, no, he will finish top 28 for sure, as there's not many people, if anyone, that can pass him. So that's a positive to it, but definitely someone that we expect a little bit better, and he just needs to get some clean running for him personally. I think he can get to the front of the points and most of these races. And now this is where this restart might not even make it to turn 1, because now we'll have even more drivers damaged restarting at the front. Justin Michael and Paul Irvin, Dustin Scruggs, Philip York, they're all totaled. It's really only the front 3 that are mostly clean.
So, we are in overtime. We have one attempt. Well, this is that attempt. So, if the caution comes out, the race is over, and this is why, like I said, the 15 and the 10, I like the strategy call.
Yeah, Team Simrack Market's loving this one, for sure.
They are. And again, simrackmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that help you save more time. Instead of painting, you're on the racetrack, so that is good stuff. But they are sharing that front row in those Simrack Market cars. Both Chevy Silverados out front here. It will be a 4-mile run to the end.
This is big for these two as well. Both very capable of making it on points, but you never want to leave it up to that. They're both hovering around the cut line right now. Elwood's had a lot go wrong, out of his control. Ricky Harden has not fought for the front spot a lot this season. This is a big moment. These two who really want to go at it and try to get that automatic gold ticket into the playoffs. And it's also big for Ryan Swan. He's another driver. He really has not had anything go his way. He's even further down the order. He's 26th in points. So those two are on the cut line. They need it, but Ryan Swan, this would be huge.
Well, 2 laps, 4 miles is all that stands between Ricky Harden and Alan Elwood. And as far as I know, neither have a win this season, so this would be a big deal for them. James Skyley's got 2 wins. Beckner's got 1, and Sogak's got 1. Everyone else still winless this season. And the Michigan race 5 of the season. Green, white, checkered. Here we go. And the 10 throws a block on the 87, gets in front of him, but the 15's free and clear.
That was darty by Elwood, but he got away with it. They're scrambling in the back as Harden's going to be able to clear away, and now he got to the bottom.
Oh, there they go.
Swan.
The 51s. I think that's the 51. No, who is that on the bottom? It's the 9. Sorry, there goes the crash. The 4 is around, and Ricky Harden will win here at Michigan. You see the fist pumping. He outlasts everyone else as the race is complete.
And guess who it was? Cameron Hearn going around.
Man.
And it was off the right front fender of Hank Kasten, believe it or not. But that is a big, big win. And like you said, you can see it, the emotion on his face. That is a huge one to get.
Yeah, that's a big deal for Ricky Harden, and that is an automatic playoff berth for the number 15. Ryan Swan comes home second. Elwood clings the third. And while we got a moment, let's go back and see what happened to the number 4. Here's the restart. And let's go up here a little bit. I think at the 9 right here.
Oh, my goodness, look at this.
There's a checkup. The 9 kind of gets, he gets hit from behind. And then comes, the 36 is going to get the 4.
Kasten.
Yep. Sends him around.
He really puts a stamp on this one. I think there's only going to be one person slightly happy about this, and it's that man right there.
So it is officially the white flag lap and coming back. You got to make it back to the checkers. We started this race with 42 trucks. We will finish with 23.
Brad Saunders Jr. is going to get 24th from the garage area.
I'll take it.
I would take it.
And checkered flag, Ricky Harden is going to coast to a victory here under yellow at Michigan. This was a wild one, and Ricky Harden will celebrate. You see him again cheering silently. We'll talk with him here, Ryan Swan and Alan Elwood here in just a couple of minutes. Dustin Scruggs and Justin Michael. You got to feel for Justin here a little bit, Connor. He was really one of the dominant trucks in this race, and there was a host of things that led to him finishing where he did, but one of them was kind of self-inflicted, and that was taking 4 tires and getting himself back in traffic here on that final restart. Yeah,
you definitely, hindsight's 20/20. If he stays out, he most likely wins the race, just like Harden just did. But it's hard to make that call, especially when you know how long they went on the tires. That they were going to be warned, and you were going to see some drivers slide. But you're hoping that, you're clinging on the hope that they would be able to gather it up, and you'd be able to use your 4 tires to your advantage and get up front. But he just did not get that opportunity and got in a crash to go along with it.
And looking down the rest of the list, James Skyley picked up 6th place points. In a night like this, I would take that. Bobby Tinch, 9th. Nice rebound for him. And Mason Kane in 10th. And David Weishart down at 20th. That'll be disappointing for him. Chris Rabel up to 13th towards the end. Carter Coop, a 12th. Not bad. Philip York in 11th. And then here's a list of some drivers that could have had some better nights. Wineland had some trouble in that 21 truck. Shane Therian in the fence. Dean Thompson, and then from here on out, Connor, this is where the outs get significant.
The early outs at that. Michael Curhan, he looked to be the dominant force, but he didn't really get the chance to show off what he had tonight, which is unfortunate. Travis Beckner, same thing, caught up in the stack-up deal in the turn one, got irreversible damage. Joseph Jones, he looked solid when he was at the front, but another driver, him and Edward Shearer Jr. Edward Shearer Jr.'s internet issues really plagued him, but a lot of drivers there who looked like they were going to have strong nights, but they did not get to really even see the halfway point. Bronson Stafford and Carter Hayden really didn't even get a chance in this one, caught up in a lap one crash.
Yeah, and again, looking back at the top 10, I think the strategy call there, this is reading the room, right? You know that you might get a caution towards the end of this race, and you're going to take every opportunity and every advantage you can. And not pitting, good call there for Ricky Harden. Let's talk with Alan Elwood. He was one of the other drivers that made the decision to stay out late in that race, and he comes home in third, had to throw a big block to keep it, but you kept it, and you bring it home in P3, Alan. That was a tough night for a variety of reasons, but you'll take home a top 5. Take us through your evening. It was certainly a wild one.
I mean, I don't even know how I'm talking to you guys right now. I had damage from lap 1, so I got that fixed early on and was hoping that it would work out. The strategy call with me and Ricky there at the end, we knew that if we got a couple cautions right in a row that it would work. Because that's kind of the way it seemed like it worked last season after watching the broadcast from season 3. So we're like, well, if we can get that to pull off, then we know we got this in the bag, somebody. And then it just so happened that last wreck took pretty much everybody out, and then Swan was up there, and we knew that if we had gone green, that he would probably pull away with it. So we were looking forward to the result no matter what. But yeah, just hats off to the team. We made a gutsy call, and super proud of the effort. I can't believe I got a podium.
Well, Alan, in a night like this, third place points after starting 26th and being as low as 37th. A strong night. Congratulations, and take that and run with it while you can. There was a lot of trucks out and crashed tonight.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you.
And we move on now to Ryan Swan, who brought his truck home in second place. Ryan, P2 in the number 1 truck. Tonight was wild. We just talked to Alan Elwood. He was shocked he was even talking to us. You had a good run up there. Started deep in the field just like Alan did and finished up front. Take us through it.
Yeah, well, I felt like I had a pretty good truck all night. I like being up there running with those guys, staying out of the chaos. I can say I was one of very few cars with very little damage, so I like being up there. You know, I don't normally run up front, so to run up front and be clean with all those guys and whatnot, it was fun. And P2, I mean, on fresh tires, it was kind of heartbreaking, but my teammate got it, so that's what was good.
Well, certainly not a bad way to end the night. We go short track racing next week. 11 yellows tonight. It was a bloodbath out there. Short track racing next week. What's the plan? Is it just to survive, or you hoping to thrive and get out front and steal a win?
Well, I'm not real thrilled about short track racing, obviously, especially after the disaster of a race we had here tonight. I mean, it's embarrassing that we've pretty much done this every week on Tuesdays, and we gotta get ourselves figured out or whatnot. Hopefully salvage some type of good season. As far as next week goes, I'm looking forward to it. I'm probably not going to win if I'm 100% honest with you, but we'll give it all we got. And hopefully get it all next week and do it again.
Thanks, Ryan. Congrats. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
And Ricky Harden pulls the strategy call to stay out late in the race under yellow, and Ricky, it paid off. You win this one here tonight under caution after 11 of them. Not a scratch on your truck. Take us through your night. I saw how excited you were when that yellow flag came out. You cruised and coasted to victory. Take us through what emotions you're feeling.
Man, I'll tell you what, it was just a great call by the team. I had Tony Stevens in here helping me out and making the call live, and me and Alan both thought it would be a good idea. We thought there might be some more attrition to come, and Ryan Swan decided to try the opposite strategy, and really it worked out for all of us. But just props to the guys. We had a really good race all night long. Stayed up in the top 5. I was really just biding my tires late in that race and just trying to stay with the leaders, and I felt like I could have made some moves on them. At the end, though, when I saw only 5 stayed out, I was pretty worried. I wasn't sure it was going to work, but It worked out. Hell yeah, we're the winner!
Your excitement's contagious, Ricky, and a good way to end things here because it was a tough one for us up here tonight. But we go short track racing next week. You're locked in the playoffs now, so what does your focus change heading into a place like North Wilkesboro?
Well, to be quite honest, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to be here every week. So it's I'm just coming out here trying to win races and have some fun and hang out with the guys. And I think we did that. And I just want to thank Roderick Racing Development, AJ Roderick, Simrap Marketplace, and everybody that helps this team out. I appreciate everybody.
Thanks, Ricky. Appreciate your time. Enjoy this one, and we'll see you next time.
You know I will. See you next time.
Thanks. All right, kind of wrapping things up here from Michigan Speedway, round 5. This was another messy one, Connor, and I think there's some changes that will have to be made. But Ricky Harden, excited to see him so excited. It was a blast to watch him pick up his first victory of the season, and that's how we'll wrap up Michigan.
Yeah, definitely need to clean things up. And like you said, I think changes will be made. Voices will be heard, whether it's the drivers or admins or anyone else who's got an opinion. We'll definitely see what happens because a track like Michigan, it's not what we expected, a 2-mile track, wide track. To have this happen is unfortunate. And once again, another week where we wish we got more racing because when we did get the racing, it was looking interesting.
It was good.
Yeah. Really solid. We had 5 to 7 trucks that were going to battle for the win, including Hurd, Weishart, and also the 87. Justin Michael got unfortunate there, but like you said, really happy for Ricky Hard, and it's awesome to hear someone pumped up like that for a win, and he deserves it. And it's a big one too. It locks him into the playoffs. You get that golden ticket, and with him being, I think, just below the cut line, he really could have used it, and he got it. So good job for him.
Well, that'll do it for us tonight. We go racing in the Florida State Builders Pro Series Thursday night right from here. Then next week, we're going short track racing Bristol on Monday. We'll see you there. Kyle Heyer, Connor Horn, bringing you the action from the area truck series. See you next time.